ポル様と一緒に踊りたいな。神に愛され、神を愛そう。
Hi everyone, welcome to the Hero Spotlight for Iggy, Ember's Gaze. Iggy is a dark magic user with high damage and incredible range. He specializes in turning people to ash, and does so by spamming his fireballs. With his deadly explosive fireballs, vision exposing an incredible long-range ultimate, not even Lorien himself is safe. His passive, Gaze. When Iggy hits an enemy with his second ability, he will inflict Gaze on them, which will expose their location for 5 seconds. Any subsequent attacks on the marked enemy will grant him a stack of energy, up to a maximum of 5 stacks. Without Gaze, Iggy restores 1 stack of energy every 4 seconds, which can be sped up with cooldown. Only the first ability, Explosive Fireball, requires energy. And speaking of, let's talk about his first ability, Explosive Fireball. With Explosive Fireball, Iggy charges up and bombards the target location once in every 0.75 seconds and deals magic damage. Targets that are hit closer to the center will receive additional magic damage. Keep a close eye on your energy, as this ability will consume 1 stack of energy per attack. Now, his second ability, Fire Shadow. Iggy enters an Ember state and increases his movement speed dramatically. While in the Ember state, Iggy can recast Fire Shadow once, which locks onto an enemy and shoots a small projectile that knocks the target back and deals damage. Sometime after, it will explode once again on the enemy. Fire Shadow is useful in roaming, and when paired with his passive and ability, one can dish out tons of damage to punish out-of-position enemies. Finally, let's talk about his ultimate, Ember's Gaze. Iggy charges and bombards a huge area from a long distance to deal area of effect damage to enemies within its range. 1 charge of the ultimate is stored every 45 seconds, and Iggy can store up to 2 total charges of his ultimate. Ember's Gaze has a 5-second cast interval. That's enough about Iggy's skills. Now let's jump out of the frying pan and into the flames and talk about gameplay. Iggy's main damage source comes from the bombardment of explosive fireballs. Paired with his passive Gaze, his bombardment becomes unending, and surely any foe will be turned to ash under such dark magic. The combo is Fire Shadow to engage, recast Fire Shadow to displace and mark your target, then hold down the explosive fireballs to let them rip. Even if your enemy manages to escape your combo, they won't be able to run from the incredible range of the ultimate, Ember's Gaze. When using Ember's Gaze, you can reach the Darkslayer pit from the safety of your own jungle. Or you can reach deep under enemy towers to halt enemy recalls in their tracks. Since Ember's Gaze can be stored up to 2 total charges, we recommend using 1 charge to deal massive damage in the midst of a team fight, and the other charge to finish off any lucky stragglers that might think to get away. That being said, we've only scratched the surface of Iggy's gameplay potential. We'll leave the little genius inside you to think up the rest. You'll just have to play him and figure it out. This concludes our hero spotlight for Iggy, Ember's Gaze. Thanks for watching. We hope you've learned the basics on how to play Iggy, Ember's Gaze. Got any feedback for us? Let us know in the comments down below. Hope we'll see you in the next video. Bye!
Hello, I'm Alfonso Gardathal, speaking on behalf of the Arena of Valor development team. Now, I suppose everyone should be familiar with me by now, right? Then at this point you must know what Seeing Me signifies. That's right, a new update is coming your way, and I'm bringing you the first-hand news from the Arena of Valor development team. We are so glad that the evolution system, which experienced a major update in the last version, has been well received by everyone, and we personally love Wukong as the delivery man. You'll want to be careful though. In Antares Battlefield, he'll not only deliver ramen, but also rob you in the jungle, but fear not, as the upgraded Vision Shard and more detailed map info will help you better strategize and attain victory. Before introducing the contents of this update, I would like to be the first to express my gratitude and all of our gratitude to everyone. Thank you for your unwavering trust, support, love, and understanding, all of which gives us the opportunity to respond by crafting more interesting game content. This will be Arena of Valor's 5th year, and we're looking forward to pushing the limits of our design creativity, grow in new directions, and focus on design philosophies to suit our players' needs. In the upcoming 5v5 MOBA Day, we're looking forward to everyone experiencing the new content and helping us create an even better Arena of Valor. The main battlefield has always been the module that we put the most effort into. We hope that by continuously optimizing the relevant mechanics of the main battlefield, we'll be able to bring you fresh gameplay experiences as well as brand new incentives towards victory. Our latest tweak mainly affects talents and enchantments. We discovered that certain talents and enchantments were being neglected, and this isn't ideal, as diversity has always been an important part of the Antares Battlefield. Therefore, we decided to remake several talents and enchantments. These changes include 1. Days will now focus more on offensive traits. 2. Roar is no longer limited to physical damage-focused heroes, and can now be applied to magic damage-focused heroes as well. 3. Disrupt is now has an added effect on defense towers. And 4. Explosive Shield now will take effect faster and is more powerful. We look forward to everyone experiencing these new talents and enchantments. In terms of combat experience, in order to make it easier for everyone to keep an eye on what's going on in the battlefield when purchasing equipment, we've increased the transparency of the equipment purchase page. The warning circle and the warning logic of defense towers and monsters has also been optimized. And in terms of the control experience, we've added 3 new functions, including 1, a new indicator prompt for successfully casting abilities. 2, while being controlled, players will be able to drag abilities that they want to cast in advance to queue. And 3, the location of nearby heroes will be indicated on the edges of the screen. We hope that these newly added functions will meet everyone's advanced needs, and we look forward to everyone advancing even higher, even faster in the tiers. Finally, the reporting system has undergone another round of tweaks. Active feeding has a negative impact on the game, and it's also a behavior that we're strongly opposed to. However, there's a fine line between intentional and unintentional behaviors, making it very difficult at times to differentiate them. In this tweak, we have reconstructed the algorithm for judging active feeding, and we're adopting a more reasonable modeling method in hopes that malicious active feeding judgments can be made more in line with everyone's expectations. In addition, we're well aware of everyone's frustration towards AFK players. Therefore, in the new version, we are prioritizing the tweak on the point deduction mechanics, which will increase the penalty for negative play and AFK behaviors. More points might be deducted depending on the tier, mode, and result of the match. In subsequent updates, we'll continue to collect data and further explore for a better AFK penalty mechanism. To date, we've addressed a number of issues related to the reporting system. In the last tweak of the reporting system, we optimized the overall logic for the reporting system so that everyone could understand more clearly how the system's judgments are made based on the report's content. When it comes to bullying reports, which we know everyone cares about, we have assigned priority to improvements based on cases reported by multiple players. This is so that they will be much less likely to result in unreasonable point deductions. Moreover, we've also improved the efficiency of the reporting system, so the reports will take effect immediately, giving players a better game experience. After a long period of observation, we're very pleased to see more positive feedback and fewer complaints about the reporting system. From the bottom of our hearts, we'd like to thank you all for your patience and support in this area. Please also rest assured that we'll always continually work hard towards improving Arena of Valor for all of our players. We hope that the new content, fixes, improvements, and enhancements brought by this update serve to improve your Arena of Valor experience, and we look forward to seeing you again on the Terrace battlefield.
Hello, everyone! The Arena of Valor World Cup Tournament is officially back after a year of absence. I'm Dio Chan, and it's my pleasure to be your companion throughout AWC 2021. With the new year comes a couple of changes, but don't worry, I've got you covered. There are 4 stages in total. The group stage will be from the 19th of June to the 27th of June. The quarterfinals will be from the 30th of June to the 4th of July. The semifinals will occur in 2 days, the 10th and the 11th of July. And the 18th of July is the grand final match. Are you still with me? Dio-chan will give you some details about each stage. First is the group stage. In the group stage, the competition is among 16 teams from 9 regions around the world. They are representatives from Vietnam, Chinese Taipei, Thailand, Indonesia, a league of Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, China, Korea, Japan, and Brazil. 16 teams are divided into 4 groups, A, B, C, and D. Each group has 4 teams. Group A with the participation of Vietnam, Team Flash, Indonesia, Dewa United Esports, Chinese Taipei, Mat Team, and Thailand, Buriram United Esports. Group B includes Vietnam, V Gaming, Japan, Z9 Gaming, Chinese Taipei, One Team Esports, and China Team, CIV. Group C consists of Thailand, Bacon Time, Indonesia, Archangel, Vietnam, Saigon Phantom, and MSP Underrank. Finally, Group D contains Brazil, Overla, Korea, Team 3 Stars, Thailand, DTAC Talon, and Chinese Taipei, Most Outstanding Player. All teams will compete in a double round robin, best of 2 format, and the global ban pick. For each 2-0 win, the winning team will get 3 points. For a draw, each team will get 1 point. And for a 0-2 loss, the loser team will have no point. The top 2 teams in the group stage will move on to the quarterfinals. That's all for the group stage. To summarize, the 2 teams with the highest total points will pass through to the quarterfinals. The quarterfinals format is really fierce and intense. Each team is allowed to lose only once. Now, let's come to the format of the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. During the quarterfinals, the 8 strongest teams of the group stage will face off against one another with 4 pairs of matches in the best-of-5 format. The top team from Group A will compete with the second team from Group B on the first match. The top team for Group C will meet the second team from Group D. The top team from Group B will face the second one from Group A. And finally, the top team from Group D will play against the second team from Group C. 4 winners will advance to the winners bracket quarterfinals with a best-of-7 format. Loser teams will have to compete in the first stage of the losers bracket quarterfinals with a best-of-5 format. Then 2 winners will go straight to the second stage of the losers bracket quarterfinals. And their opponents are 2 teams losing in the winners bracket quarterfinals with the best-of-7 format. 2 victors of the winners bracket will pass directly to the semifinals. They will have to fight for the first slot to the grand final. The last 2 teams passing the second stage of the losers bracket quarterfinals will oppose each other in the first stage of the losers bracket semifinals. The winner will meet the loser of the winners bracket semifinals to find the last representative for the grand final. A month of intense and amazing competition of AWC 2021 is about to take place. Who will be owner of the championship title with a bonus of $200,000? Let's find out with me, DL Chan, starting from the 19th of June. Do not miss.
Follow me anywhere I go. Anything we know, no better of truth, things we told. Even in the middle of a galaxy, I fall. I make the call. I run to a place where lights don't fade. Every day special day in our way. And we introspect, got a love letter to future. You know everything I do it for you.
In the sky, we're looking for the light. Yeah, I wish to see you tomorrow. And when all the stars align, then I see you eye to eye in the middle of our own sorrow.
I've been waiting for this. Don't let the waste of your time. Strike a line on this. Beautiful light in the night. Yeah. We stand divided before we all run it. Live it up, don't you know? Together we fight, together we rise. We all run it. Live it up, don't you know? Entering the arena, stepping and blowing up, run this game together like a dream. Lighting up ballerinas, still not messing with the team. Look at them, look at us, magical thing versus of me. Saving us from ourselves, breaking this and strength.
This game's well lost in it, fam. Didn't give a damn, we in game, it's wicked. Hello came my bag when my rollies packed down. Kings cross meet my missus. There ain't no I in this. Prom lick it, cause we're working back to back. None of that chit chat, bruv. Money and fame, racks on racks on racks. Me dod, reload, in war, let's roll. Whoa, they got me calling, bruv. Me dod, quad hard. United we roll. AOV got me calling, bruv.
I've been waiting for this. Don't let the waste of your time. Strike a line on this. Beautiful light in the night. Yeah. We stand divided before we all run it. Live it up, don't you know? Together we fight, together we rise. We all run it. Live it up, don't you know? Don't be scared of what's to come. It's all for you.
Victory is every day. Sport Authority of Thailand.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Arena of Valor World Cup 2021. This is the semifinals, day number 2. This is the English commentary broadcast. My name is Vittorio, and joining me, of course, is going to be Isaac. And we would like to thank all of those tuning in and the organizers, Tencent Games, Garena, and VSPN for making this event possible. And of course, we're actually seeing the lower bracket for today. It's going to be MOP against SGP. And going forward, we saw how SGP had the fastest run in the best of 7 series here in the playoffs. And it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to be faring off against MOP, who was also getting a tier in the upper bracket. Will they be the underdogs that faces up with DTAC Talon, or will it still be an MOP versus DTAC at the Grand Finals?
Well, at the end of the day, we've seen these 3 teams perform above and beyond. We're already down to the last 3, and no one actually thought that Saigon Phantom would make it this far. Now they're battling for a chance to secure at least 3rd place, sitting at $70,000 US. If they manage to make it to the Grand Final, either MOP or SGP, they would land at least $110,000 US, with the champ getting $200,000 US. Of course, Finals MVP gets $10,000 US as a bonus. This is the lower bracket final, ladies and gentlemen. Before we go on to the Grand Final itself, between DTAC and either MOP or SGP. MOP, solid dominance all throughout. Facing off against DTAC, however, DTAC would always seem to have their number. They dropped down 4-2. Now they need to face off against Saigon Phantom. And, just like what I said, the first time Saigon Phantom played the playoffs, they went down 3-1 against DTAC. They went on to defeat V-Gaming, Buriram United Esports, and then Mad Team. So the teams they went up against were no joke, 2 of which are arguably titans in the AOV scene, yet they were able to overcome them. Mad Team especially going 4-1, fastest series for a best of 7 in AWC 2021 right now. Securing that 4-1 only meant that Saigon Phantom would be coming in strong against MOP, who came from a loss against DTAC Talon. DTAC right now are sitting, relaxing, studying, waiting for that Grand Final next week on July 18th. But for now, we need to determine who their opponents are going to be. Could be either one of these teams, and quite honestly, if whichever of these 2 make it to the finals, they surely deserve it based on how they've performed in the AWC so far.
Yeah, and we're going to see SGP in the blue side, while on the red side, we're going to see MOP. So it's going to be interesting to see if this is still going to be the dominant SGP with their aggressive form, or will MOP's rotation that represents the GCS region topple the offensive power of this AOG team. And it's going to be interesting to see, because a lot of the people actually thought that it's going to be a GCS versus GCS finals. And it's going to be possible that there's no GCS regional team that's going to be competing in the AWC finals this year. Maybe it could be SGP versus DTAC. It's the RPL representatives versus the AOG representatives. And that is very, very interesting to see, because these guys, no one rooted for them when it mattered. Yep. The usual teams they rooted for was MOP and Mad Team here in the semifinals. Now, they've proven themselves up in DTAC Talon, since they're the ones waiting in for the finals. But if SGP proves the naysayers wrong, then this is definitely a momentous occasion wherein the GCS region is finally falling off in the standings in the 3 regional pro leagues.
Exactly. And, Vittorio, that's the storyline that's building up right now for both MOP and Saigon Phantom. If we think about it, there were 3 representatives from Chinese Taipei in the playoffs. There were 3 as well, if I'm not mistaken, coming in for Thailand. But then all of those, they fell off. Vietnam had it worse from the very beginning. because Team Flash was eliminated in the group stage. We eliminate another one in V Gaming, courtesy of Saigon Phantom, of course. Later that day in the quarterfinals, and then now we're sitting at all of a sudden one representative from the top 3 regions right now. So the storyline here is majority of the GCS made it far in the playoffs, but now there's only one left, and that's MOP. Are we going to be seeing MOP topple Saigon Phantom, the last hope of Vietnam, or are we going to see the massive upset where at the beginning of the playoffs it was one representative from Vietnam remaining, and Saigon Phantom, are they going to be able to go the distance to face off against DTAC Talon? And something interesting about that, Thailand as a region has never won. Championship of this caliber has never been theirs. It was either Chinese Taipei or Vietnam. It was the usual thing when you would battle on the international stage. This time could be a change of pace. We may not see Vietnam or Chinese Taipei at the finals, depending on the results of this best of 7. And what if DTAC win that? It's going to be their first championship for the Thai region, and that's going to skyrocket them to fame. If that happens, though, we're going to need to find out who they need to face off against, and that's what makes this best of 7 such a big deal.
Yeah, and it would prove that the likes of the Burrito United, who has always been the representative for the region, was kind of overrated as a team, all in all. We've seen Burrito United actually being the premier team in the RPL region, but in the AWC 2021 they fell off pretty early in the playoffs, and it's kind of exciting to see that DTAC Talon, a newcomer in the AWC, is the one actually getting the spotlight, the limelight, and rightfully so. So it's gonna be interesting to see actually if SGP can actually beat out MOP at this situation also, because a lot of the people actually think MOP is a lot more better than SGP, where SGP only has one star player, and that is gonna be Bang. And usually a lot of people make fun of it. It's gonna be Bang and Friends, not SGP. But SGP proved themselves from the last series, and that's basically it. The storyline here is that SGP is also at par with the other teams here in the AWC.
Yeah, and the growth of the other 4 members from Saigon Phantom now actually keeping up with Bang just makes it so beautiful to watch Saigon Phantom right now. How they've come from being the supporting cast, quote unquote, to now matching up to the star power of Bang. And you could see it in their plays, where we would think that, yep, they're missing their skill shots. Yep, they're not performing as well as Bang. Yep, Bang is carrying this team. It's not that case anymore. We've seen Yiwei, Lack Black, Red, and Kosh shine in different occasions. And now we may actually see them shine as 5 if they make it to the finals. But the hurdle in their way right now is going to be a huge team from the GCS, the champions, MOP. And MOP have only lost to DTAC.
And so far, that is already a good track record for MOP, and shows the credibility, but we can also discredit SGP climbing up from the bottom. And if they win this, they could actually be the new comeback kings, because they've been knocked out of the first day of the playoffs, and they've been fighting a lot of those matches just to grind their way into the semifinals day number 2. But looking at the bans right now and picks, SGP's first few picks is of course Alubu, Ayate, and Dirac, already spitting out these picks. These are high meta picks, high win rate picks, and MOP answered back with high picks themselves with the Roxy, Varus, and Irie. Varus picks so far in the playoffs have been doing well, especially if they put it in the jungle. Not only that, even in the mid lane, pretty much a flex pick that can be effective in both roles.
And looking at that Varus pick, it can be devastating if it's Zen who actually picks it up. We have seen Weiwei been able to as well. I mean, not gonna lie, it's possible. We may actually see Irie on Zen, or maybe even Irie on Kawhi. Kawhi has been phenomenal for MOP. He has done leaps and bounds in terms of improvement throughout the AWC, and he's been able to step up to the likes of Yetsu, Wei Wei, and Kevin. And of course, you know, their star right now in the jungle in Zen. But that's the thing, right? They're coming off from a loss. They lost to DTAC 4-2, and they just didn't seem to have their strategy work against a team like DTAC. The aggression, the lack of hesitation from DTAC, it was difficult for them to approach. And MOP, with their very fundamental and strategic approach to the game, where objectives are key and killing is not a priority here, just somehow makes them look so passive against these teams. Now that you're facing off against Saigon Phantom, though, which are arguably, you know, the most offensive team right now, this is a team that will not hesitate at all. If one is gonna die, they're all dying with him, and they are going to make sure that they fight it out, even if it's a trade. They will make sure that they land these kills. That's how offensive it is. They've beaten the Shield in Mad Team, showing all-out offense. I wouldn't be surprised if MOP struggle in this one, especially since, well, the Irie hasn't exactly been successful in the playoff stage.
Yeah, and we're gonna see a finish to SGP's lineup. They're actually overing on a Senyo and a Ryoma. I don't think a Ryoma is gonna be fitting very, very good in this kind of composition against MOP. Ryoma is actually good in dealing damage, but once he's in the receiving end, he's also gonna be easily taken out. And that's also a fact of the matter. And an Omen pick is gonna be the one that they over into. So it's gonna be interesting to see. They have a lot of offensive power in MOP through damage from the Varus, versatility on the Irie, damage capabilities on that Kafeni, and also the setting potential with the Roxy as long as the Aggies grip is gonna get a hit on a vital target. While SGP, they have the late game actually secured for them. They have a Dirac and they have an Hayate, and they have 3 tanks on their side. Senyo is definitely going to be a wave clearer. Omen is going to be setting up for them with the Dense Embrace, and of course, sustaining them is going to be that Lubu pick.
Yep. And final pick for MOP could potentially be a Liliana. With this kind of combo here, we know that Dirac and Hayate are scary. But then you have the addition of the Lubu for Saigon Phantom that just plays well with their aggression. A save coming up from the Senyo, and then a lockdown from the Omen just takes the cake there, and Saigon Phantom have a pretty solid composition. But that doesn't mean MOP's comp is by any means weaker. It actually looks pretty fair as well, because you have the Lorian, who can dive in just as much as the Varus and the Irie. Lots of free hits, possibly the Fusillade connecting consistently with the Caphany, and then if all else fails, just like the Omen, you have a lockdown with the Roxy's Agnes grip. So both comps right now seem to be looking at the exact same idea.
MOP does have the early game for them, but SGP definitely has the late game. So we're gonna see 2 contrasting compositions again, and as long as MOP can capitalize on this snowball potential of their composition, then SGP definitely is gonna have a hard time going forward. But if we reach the late game where everyone has items, then SGP might take this game in the bag, and that's not an understatement.
Yep. It's it's no joke for Saigon Phantom and most outstanding player to make it this far in the AWC, taking down Titan after Titan, difficult oppositions. Everyone gave it their all to make sure they could make it this far, and now we're down to the final 3. We will be finding out who the top 2 teams in the AWC are after this series, and we're going to be kicking it off with game number 1 in a very interesting matchup where Lubu and Irie both get picked up in game 1, Vittorio. Who do you think has the better matchup here? We know that early game probably going to be going to MOP. Saigon Phantom have the better late game, but in terms of matchup and strategy, do you think SGP has a chance against MOP?
As long as they go into the late game, yes, they do have a chance. And MOP just needs to hit their skill shots for the Varus to be effective. And although the Irie is picked up, it's not gonna be versus the Lubu. He's not gonna fare well against an Omen, and but they match it up with a Hayate though. So they're gonna be harassing that Irie in the early onset of the game. So as long as Red is not gonna be taken out by Kawhi, then it's gonna be a win for SGP in this kind of matchup.
Yep. And so far, we've seen this kind of movement from MOP, where after level 1, Wei goes to the top side to secure that Vision Seagull. He's gonna get punished by it, and seems like Saigon Phantom knew that Wei was gonna be doing that. You already saw several members move up there, and it's not the usual case where we would see Wei go to the Dragon side. He always seems to go top side right after the first clear.
Yeah, and we're gonna see not so aggressive game style from SGP. They're gonna go and actually farm themselves up before the first Sentinel. 20 seconds is gonna be on the clock, and I think there's gonna be a clash in that Sentinel pit. Well, we're gonna see Roxy still with Kafeni on the bot side. With them first clearing the bot side, there's for sure a 5v4 going to happen in the top side of the map, and that is already a food for thought. They should know. Yep, that is gonna be secure for MOP with 5 of their members already in the area, but they're gonna try to delay it with SGP actually just showing themselves up here.
I'm pretty interested to see the matchup between Lubu and Varys.
This is it. They're actually going in for the invade here into the red side, and the Fusilade is going to be committed. Kawhi uses W and actually hits nothing. So this might possibly be a contest, but Dex Embrace also doesn't get a hit. There's going to be the Star Snatcher from Lak, but Lak is going to be pulled into the clash, and now he's going to be in danger, and that's going to be it. Even with the Angelic Splendor, it's a 4-man team from MOP, and they get the first blood and another kill.
That was fast. That was very fast. MOP capitalized on the mistakes, took one out, but they knew that with Agni's grip they could take out Lak as well, so they went for the 2 kills immediately. And you see their movement where they would accomplish these kills, they would immediately try to go for an objective. But good thing Ka and then of course Yiwei were ready for the counter and defend that tower. So there was no clear advantage where they would lose a tower immediately. They saved that tower, but they're going to be down 1,000 gold.
They just need to hold on, turtle this game. Yeah, it's going to be a different playstyle for SGP, but this is the kind of composition that they fielded with the Hayate and also the Dirac. A Dirac doesn't really pop off, not as much as a Lorian can, because there's going to be a lot of setups wherein Lorian can actually use the Starry Sky. And not like the Dirac, who actually needs to place his shield in the right moment and during clashes to be effective. Not like Wei who has an AoE that can, get a lot of stunts.
Yep. With with how intense things are, we can also see the intensity on the chat here. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's keep the chat toxic free. Let's all show some respect because these teams work hard to make it this far. Speaking of working hard, God's trying to work hard to stay alive, but he's not going to be able to do that. The objective now is going to be the Abyssal Dragon, but MOP are just stomping all over the members here from Saigon Phantom. They're going for a big fight here, but Red is being, getting that opportunity to free hit. 2 are already going to go down, 1 for each team. Bag may follow as well. It's a double kill for Ye2. Saigon Phantom are going to be forced back from their aggression, and it's going to be a pretty significant lead now for MOP as they get to secure the second Abyssal Dragon of the game. Not to mention they already have 5 kills.
Yeah, MOP is dominating the early game, and this might be the snowball that they need to actually finish this off before the 15-minute mark. And it's not an understatement that SGP actually needs to make their own plays, get their wins in those clashes, but it's so hard with the composition that we have in MOP with a lot of crowd controls, a lot of setups. Only Yetsu actually doesn't have the crowd controls to actually, go for the engagement. But everyone else, we have the Irie, Varus, Lorian, and also the Roxy in their team that can hold a lot of ground. I think SGP is gonna go for a commit. Genesis barrier is gonna be there, but I don't think that the placement is gonna be wonderful. Kawhi is almost gonna be taken out, but that was a very good try. Kong tries to go for a kill, but the Genesis blast actually finishes off that Irie. But will there be another casualty for SGP? Yes, they got the trade with Ka.
Ka's just not having a good game, and quite frankly, we haven't exactly seen Senior have a good game in the playoffs as well. But all things considered, they got the trade kill there. It was Irie for a Senior, and they're gonna take that. At the very least, they don't lose any towers there. They may lose a tower in the top side. Now it's a 2v1 scenario. Yui's trying to tank up as much as possible, but it's not gonna be enough. Angelic Splendor is gonna be coming in. Kevin is staying alive here. Yetu now on the chase, gets Yue. Ka and Red are around for the fight, but they are just going to be overpowered. Yue is going to be going down for 20 seconds. MOP shooting the lights out, taking towers as well. And now they will secure the first tower of the game and potentially even more objectives on the map.
Yeah, and now SGP actually is on the receiving end of an offensive that they can't actually stop. MOP just getting a lot of those hits in even before the clashes starts, and they're being bursted out in most of these clashes. A lot of positional mistakes comes from the other members of SGP right now, like Yue. When the tower was destroyed, the best course of action is to actually go back, but he still went in to go for a clear the creep wave, and it resulted to a kill for MOP. And this has been recurring for a while now. For the 7-minute, we just entered the 7-minute mark, and there's already 7 kills on the side of MOP. They did trade out 2 kills, but you're not gonna feel it because the gold lead right now is at 3.5k.
Yeah, it's a pretty significant lead already. I think Saigon Phantoms still have the first game jitters. They're not as coordinated compared to their previous games, and we're seeing a bit of the miscommunication come in where they just continuously try to commit when they're not really in sync to commit for those fights just yet. MOP on the other hand, they're already looking very, very clean. They've secured 2 Abyssal Dragons and a tower. They're defending their towers at the same time. They're not giving room for Saigon Phantom to get any of these objectives.
And this is just gonna be pretty hard for SGP to scale back. We have Bang, the usual superstar, 4.4k against a 5.2k. This is the first time where Bang actually is falling off in terms of gold. So if it were in this kind of situation where in the person that you actually expect to pop off is not popping off, then I don't think that the victory for them is actually gonna be easy. Even if they do get some some boost on the gold, it's not gonna be enough because most of the gold from the members of MOP is actually in the Kafeni with a 402, 6.8k claim Sancti, and the Claw is already there. So it's gonna be pretty hard going forward.
Well, the Claw and Clips is gonna make this Kafeni hit very, very hard. Based on what's happening right now, we need to practically just see Saigon Phantom chill out a bit. They're a very early game oriented team where they just want to go all out with their aggression, but their composition is not going to be working that way. We know for a fact that the better early game is with MOP, yet they're still trying to trade out. They're losing these trade-offs, and now they're suffering because we're already sitting at more or less a 5,000 gold lead. Yue may actually get caught out. Not going to be enough for Zen and Kawhi to take him though, but with Bang clearing the waves, knowing that 2 members are there, they're going to back off for a while. Yue's there for the defense, while the rest of the team are going to be rotating to pressure the top side.
Yeah, I guess it was premature to say that SGP's supporting lineup is actually improving. Maybe we jumped the gun, but because in this kind of matchup, they're actually losing out and forcing out fights, and that is going to be Bang again taking out for 1 stack of a jungle creep, and that's not a good trade. Yes, you actually need to stack your jungle, your jungle for your jungle item, but at the end of the day, if you're gonna be taken out while doing it, then it's not gonna be a good trade. Better off trying to clear those waves and then just gain gold from it.
Yep. Well, Lack at the very least has been connecting as usual when it comes to his skill shots. I mean, Genesis Blast was very key in one of the fights, but other than that, he hasn't really, done much to help out the team. And I'm actually expecting a whole lot more from Ka, but when you draft a Senior for Ka, it doesn't seem to have that playmaking ability, and he's going to be forced to play defensively. We know for a fact that Ka likes to play aggressive and goes for those picks to set up for his team to get kills. He may be able to do that with a Senior, but we can clearly see that he's having a hard time. You're going to set up a pick for a Roxy, a Varez, or an Irie that's going to be hard to jump on. Not to mention he can't reach the Lorien and the Caffeine. It's just going to get harder for them here unless they can slow things down and get to the late game where the Hayate and the Dirac can potentially shine more.
Yeah, we're seeing an almost 7k gold lead in the side of MOP. And it's just going to grow to a point wherein it's going to be at the 10k mark before we enter the early stages of the late game. This is just the 11-minute mark, and they're already struggling this hard from this kind of lineup. And look at the MOP, Yetsu's just using his railgun to finish up the tower without even a creep wave in sight. And SGP's map is slowly shrinking into their base, and more of the resources are definitely going to be easy to take for MOP. Bang will not have any opportunity to take more of those camps in the jungle. And that is going to be a very dangerous take for the Hayate actually going into the top lane. That's a job for Yiwei, not the Hayate. The Hayate is actually needed to go for the defense, but what are you doing there, Red?
Yeah, this is a mistake that we've seen from many different teams. MOP made the exact same mistake where it was the Hayate split pushing, and it practically cost them the game. We know for a fact that MOP, when they get the lead, they know how to maximize, they know how to take care of it, and you're seeing them balloon that lead even more as the game goes on. We're sitting at 8,000 now, and with an 8,000 gold lead, that just enables them to choke out the map even more, steal camps away from Bang. Bang gets a harder time to scale, and it just spells bad news. You want to make sure you get to keep up with the gold, but you're playing against MOP. They know how to make sure that they keep that lead going. And quite honestly, we haven't seen a team beat MOP in an utter comeback, right?
But it's kind of funny that MOP didn't push their advantage in the bottom lane. Without the Hayate, it would have been an easy take. Even with the Lubu, Dirac, Omen, and Senyo, there's not much that they can do in a 1v1 fight as long as the Agnes grip actually connects. And they didn't actually go for a commit there. And I don't know, GCS teams like this kinds of commits wherein they already had the advantage, but they're actually playing it slow as they can. And we're already at 40-minute mark. The Sire Sky is going to connect. Genesis Blast is going to be there. Black, that was a nice attempt, but at the end of the day, they didn't have the jungler in that area. Wow, two of the members are actually going for a split push. Now they're going to be forced out to defend here with another tower down. MOP, I don't know. This is like what we see from Mad Team. Maybe they took the strategy from their strat book.
Probably. They're hesitating to just jump the trigger here. We know how much of a lead they have already, and them as players, they could probably just see it from their own scoreboard as well. They press the scoreboard button, at the very bottom of that you see the gold, and the difference is fairly clear. We're sitting at what, 9,000 already, and they're still afraid to just push in? If you're giving an opportunity for Red and Bang to split push like this, they're going to catch up eventually, and it may not be a good thing for MOP. They should be pressing their advantage even more, and I have always mentioned how they know how to maintain and control their lead, but this is not how they would usually play. They know how strong they are, and they could dive in if they wanted to.
Yeah, I feel like the aggression that we usually have from MOP is kind of lost from the, maybe on the last game that they played, but there's going to be a Sire Sky. Cleanse is going to be committed. The Drake is doing a lot of damage. That's going to be half health for the tier 3 turret on the top lane. But still, the advantage is still with MOP. So at the end of the day, it's still going to be a hard fight for SGP if they want to come back for this. but they actually need to hit the 60k mark to have all the items for SGP to actually compete in this matchup. But as long as MOP finishes that game before SGP goes to that point, then they're gonna able to actually secure the win still. But and then Rage Abyssal Dragon buff is gonna be there with the Dark Blessing buff being gained by Yetsu. So this is definitely gonna be something for them to actually think of. If they're gonna wait for the DS to spawn, or are they going for a commit to a lane?
Yeah, I'm just honestly perplexed here. Trigon Phantom should not be getting this much space. You saw that that second attempt and didn't look good. You saw them try to go for a push the first attempt, didn't look good either. They're buying time here, but you know, just how much time are you gonna be able to get? You're gonna probably get a whole lot if MOP continue to play like this.
Yeah, I mean statistically, it's gonna fail if we reach the 25-minute mark. But
yep,
with the advantage that they have, they still have the leeway to actually finish this as early as they can. As long as they don't commit the mistakes. They waited for the Dark Slayer, and the Dark Slayer is now gonna be spawning, but once they get the Dark Slayer buff, they're not gonna have their Rage Pistol Dragon buff. So yeah, that is also something that they need to think of. And two of the members again from SGP is gonna be seen on the bottom lane. But because of that, they're gonna have the idea that there's no Dark Slayer take for the side of SGP, no contest at all. And the wave was just too far for a push to work.
This is an interesting approach from Saigon Phantom. They don't contest it. Instead, they're split pushing. So that the momentum where they're going to be trying to defend is just even worse. And I don't know about you, Vittorio, but this is a very interesting build on Kawhi. Going for two Fenrir Tooths. We could call it Fenrir Teeth now. And then he has the Blade of Eternity at the very end of it. Black is trying to defend.
Yeah, there's gonna be the Fusila, gonna be committed. The Genesis Blast is gonna be there, but the Drake is gonna be able to take the tier 3 turret. D-Way is gonna be in danger. Zen almost taken out there, but the orb from Zen is gonna do it for him. And I do think the Fenrir is actually okay for Kawhi as long as he times his Ryu, because once he gets a Ryu, there's gonna be damage reduction. That's gonna be a lot of burst already with that Kevin taken out. Bang! In that Agus grip, the Conqueror is not gonna be helping him in that situation, and we're gonna see Hayate actually go back into the base, going in for a split push, trying to go for a backdoor, but is it gonna be working? I think not, because the members of MOP are actually stomping the members of SGP into this Nexus, but that is gonna be a good defense. Wei finishes off with its Sky. Lack is gonna be in danger. They took out the bottom lane, but the turret in the middle lane was taken back as well. So that is gonna be a very, very good trade for MOP. While SGP is reeling from the damage coming in from the MOP members, and Lack is going to be in danger. He still has the Blade of Eternity, but is it going to be enough? The Angelic Splendor was not working, and that is going to be another Star Sky into the face of Red. Red is going to be able to actually kill Yetsu at that confrontation, but it's still going to be a 2-man team versus a 4-man team of MOP. The Nexus already half health. Is it gonna be effective? No, that is gonna be MOP taking game 1.
When we saw Hayate go down there, you already knew that everything was lost. Red got the split push going to trade off the top side tower, but MOP, they knew their advantage. They pressed it, they utilized it, took the mid lane tower as well, kept going, and while they were somehow managing to defend, when we saw Red dive in and just get absolutely destroyed, that was practically all she wrote. Bang couldn't do a thing, and with Lack going down, that was the end of the game. They lose Hayate and Dirac in game 1, and those are really big picks, not to mention Alubu. So, MOP, they may have been slower than usual, but they still get the job done, and they looked a lot cleaner than they did in the previous series. Check out the highlights for game 1.
And that was game number 1's highlights, where MOP takes game 1 over SGP. And going back into the game, it was more of the composition of MOP actually working well for them. They knew what is the winning condition for them, and forcing out those clashes in the early was really brought the benefits to them going into the late game. We didn't see, we saw it was a 50k gold for Team SGP, and I said the cap for it is going to be at 60k for everyone to actually have an item in Saigon Phantom's team, but it didn't move into that point. And actually in the defensive, and we're actually seeing a lot of problems for SGP because Red is the one going for the pushes. And yeah, Hayate is a very mobile pick. You can go for backdoors, can clear out waves easily, go in for the pushes, but at the end of the day, who's going to be able to clear the creep wave? Dirac is not going to be enough, even with the Astral Orb, and also you can only place a Genesis Berry in one place. What about the other points to actually defend? It was not open yet, you were pushing out the bottom lane, but at the end of the day, it was 2 lanes in contrast into what MOP was actually pushing. And to go forward, with a lot of deaths happening, Laklak being taken out, Bang being taken out in the early game, he was delayed into the farm. The defense for the resources was not there just because they were out damaged most of the time because of the delay that happened in that first clash. If you have a Dirac, the thing that you want to happen is to have a clash near a tower. That's just basically it. You're not gonna use the Dirac to always go for a push unless you're secured on your flanks. But we see Laklak actually positioning himself near the brushes in the bot side, wherein the support wasn't even there. So he didn't know if someone's coming to actually go into his back, and then he's just gonna place the Genesis Berry in the front, and then that's it. And you're placing it on front of an Irie who can just dash in, use for you, and deal a lot of damage.
Yeah, it was a very costly game 1 there. They lost power picks in Omen, Lupu, Dirac, Hayate. Those are big picks, and they lost it really hard there for game 1. MOP, they may have lost the Irie, the Verez, and the Roxy, but situational picks like Caffrey and Lorian are not going to phase them because they will still have a whole lot of meta picks that they could pick up going into the later stages of this best of 7. SGP practically blew their load here, and it's gonna be a big waste, and we could probably feel it if the game goes the distance. I don't think that the 2-3 that they were doing as well was worth it because Red was needed by the team with that defense. If it was probably just Bang doing that by himself, maybe it would have been the case. I mean, Bang could just practically fast clear most of the waves anyway, so it wouldn't be that much of a problem. They went for a 2-3 though, and Red and Bang were together to try to split push, which didn't make much sense, and you left Laklak all alone to do the heavy lifting when Yiwei and Ka aren't exactly going to be able to front for him enough. So, cost him there, and now we see the MVP yet too. 4-0-7, perfect KDA, 91.7% KP. This is his 6th MVP so far. 5 from the previous games we've had with him around performing well. 866 gold per minute and 12.4 MVP points. This guy can literally say that, you know, he's one of the best marksmen right now. He's proven it so far, and he's doing it this time around. Yes, they were looking really rocky yesterday in the semis, but it's a completely different story now based off how they played game 1.
And going forward, there was a lot of reasons for the Irie not actually having the Curse of Death. He didn't need it. He just needed a defender suit, and he's gonna be able to 1v1 bang. It's gonna be interesting to see because sometimes a damage build is way better than going for a sustained fight, which Lubu is definitely gonna win. So with a lot of damage there, Lubu is not gonna be enough to go for a solo push. He needed some help, and that was Red actually trying to help in those pushes to actually deter Kawhi from going inside the vicinity. But at the end of the day, it also split their forces up because Kawhi was the only one going for the defense, and they were not able to go for a commit just because of the damage. And also with the BOE in there, there's still a lot of chances that they're not also going to be able to secure the kill. And that's just basically it. So now we're going to be moving in to the second game of the day. MOP with a 1-up over SGP. Is it going to be a 2-0? Or is it going to be a series tie at 1-1?
It honestly feels like MOP found a way to counter Bang completely there because he didn't feel as relevant as he would usually do most of his games. So moving forward, Saigon Phantom are probably going to be aware of that. They're here to shut down Bang. So the rest of Saigon Phantom, if they really want to prove it, they're going to need to step up for Bang if Bang's going to be MOP's target. MOP, on the other hand, they have had the hesitation, but it actually played well for them that they hesitated because the strategy Saigon Phantom were doing just benefited them even more. We saw how difficult it was for Saigon Phantom to come back to that, and while they were somehow managing to defend, it was a little too much already, and a double buff was just gonna be able to secure it for them at the end of the day. Now, with them picking up the AoE, first pick, this is gonna be susceptible to counters though. I don't know about first picking an assassin at this point based on what we've seen so far, Vittorio.
Yeah, I mean, it's worked a lot of times. We've seen a lot of scuds actually not being effective in their role. They actually try to make the scud as an assassin hero, actually trying to go for sustains, and that's how you use scud. You use scud to actually tank some damage and then get out of it, get out of the area. Or if you're gonna be able to catch out some squishies like maybe the mage or the marksman, that's how you use scud. You don't use scud to actually punch fighters or tanks. And that's what has been happening all throughout the yesterday's series. And it's gonna be interesting to see. I don't think it's Bang's fault. If SGP's lanes actually don't fare well, it's gonna be opening the jungle for an invade for the side of MOP, and that's with D-Way actually being dropping like flies, and actually other members of SGP dropping out like flies. Bang doesn't have the opportunity to actually have the security to have that gold lead mentality. You're not gonna be able to take your camps. You're not gonna be able to actually have an easy clear wave, and that just basically zeroes in your gold lead.
Yep. And, you know, it's domino effect more or less. If Bang can't have a good game, it's gonna be really hard for him. But, you know, it goes to show that the way they made it this far was because they were at the very least able to win their lanes, and it was not just all about Bang. That game one showed how crucial it is for the rest of the team from Saigon Phantom to perform, because if they could keep their lanes up, then Bang will probably have a pretty good game. In this scenario though, we're looking at Violet, Ibnet, and Aoi together on MOP. Saigon Phantom have secured the Elsu, and of course the Superman. I wouldn't be surprised if they pick up a Dirac as well, a Gilder as well, because that's what we would usually see from him. But they haven't exactly hovered for that just yet.
Yeah, with the Ibnet, they're actually trying to counter the Gilder pick. So, yeah, MOP is actually thinking on the next step. SGP can actually go in for the Dirac and a Gilder as well, but that's gonna be another set. This is a team. This is a team composition that won them a lot, the Elsu Gilder. So they probably actually want to emulate that in game 2 to actually get the lead to a tie. But what is gonna happen after that? That is gonna be the question for SGP. Will they be actually showing us something new? Maybe the getting back the 4 fighter meta, and MOP though looking strong. They have a lot of damage in the early with the Avoy, and then a lot of damage in the late game with the Violet, as long as it scales.
Yep. I mean, even if the AoE falls off in the later stages, I think it's gonna be fine with MOP as long as Yechu on the Violet just has a good game. We saw what Yechu could do with a Caphany, and he performed really good on it. I can only imagine that he'd be doing the exact same thing, but even better because it's a Violet. Saigon Phantom though, looks like they're not gonna be going for the Elsu Gilder. They pick up the Elsu but secure a Baldoom instead. This is probably the counter for Nature's Realm. You see Kevin use that. You pop in the Wild Prison, and then you cancel out Nature's Realm. But that's about all there is. I don't think it's gonna be easy for Baldoom to lock anyone else down. There's mobility on Violet, Aoi as well. I don't think they're gonna be able to reach a Kali if MOP pick that up, and they're gonna end up trying to delay the game just so Bang has a good one on this Kilgroth.
I mean, that's a lot of protection on their side with the Baldoom in it. I do agree that it's not gonna be able to catch out anyone except for the internet. We're gonna see a lot of the dashes coming in from Avoy, the Violet, and even the rest as something to actually, avoid the Wild Person besides using Flicker. Maybe the Elaine is actually going to be susceptible to the Wild Person, but that is also something that is going to be rarely used in those clashes. She needs to actually have the hyper priority targets on that Violet, Avoy, and Raz.
Well, looks like Saigon Phantom is going to be going back to their bread and butter. After losing that one from MOP, they decide to go with the Crixie and will be using Lak Lak for that supporting damage. So once Bang dives in, there's protection coming in from Yiwei and Ka. Lak Lak is just going to use the Moonfall and the other skills to make sure that he could deal damage and help out, while there's snipes coming in for bread. Looks really nice and all on paper, but executing it is going to be a completely different story. They need to get their specific power spikes first. MOP on the other hand seems a lot easier, but it's going to depend on whether Kevin on the Ibnet's going to have a good game, whether the Elaine is going to work out, because it has not won yet, and of course the Raz. The Raz early game, if it's great, then MOP would probably have this, especially since Zen would practically just stomp on an Aoi.
I mean, the combination that an Elaine can bring from an Aoi diving in with the Raz diving in is going to be definitely good, because it's going to have a speed up, plus after the Death at Sunset is going to be proc. There's going to be a lot of damage in an AoE scale, so it can be a lot of sure kills coming in from MOP. If they catch out the Crixie and the Elsu with the kind of explosive KO combo plus the Death at Sunset by Elaine, it's definitely going to be a sure kill. But that is easier said than done. We're going to see the execution here with the blue side being taken now by MOP and the red side by SGP. Ladies and gentlemen,
the colors of the uniforms, man. It fits.
ladies and gentlemen, we're going to see Ice and Fire fighting out here. And if Chinese Taipei's MOP actually takes game 2, this is the first that they actually get a dominance in the early parts. And actually, it was the first game 1 win for MOP throughout the playoffs. So it's actually looking good for most outstanding player in that regard.
Yeah, because they never win game 1. Surprisingly, ladies and gentlemen, that was the first time we saw MOP win game 1. So, it's a sign of good things to come for them. We know for a fact that they could perform well game 2 onwards. So if they had a good game for game 1, you can only imagine how good of a game they could have for game 2. And right now, Red and Car are going to be dueling with Yetu and Kevin. I don't think they're going to mind too much of that, because the tankiness of this Ibnet is probably going to be greater than what Ka can offer right now.
Yeah, so we're now seeing the shots not actually connecting a lot for the side of Red. That's gonna be dangerous. Zen is actually going in for a very good invade. They got the small cap from the kill guard though, so that's gonna delay some semblance of the goal for Bang. Again, having an Aoi is actually a boon for your team because you can just be aggressive as you can in those certain situations.
Yep. And if they work out when it comes to doing those kinds of scenarios, then it just practically helps Bang out a lot with just getting destroyed. Because one thing's for sure, Zen on this Aoi is just gonna wreck shop if given the opportunity. And with this kind of composition, they're giving room for the Aoi to run around, get those picks, and then run away. And if you lose lane, statistically, based on what we saw game 1, Bang will have a hard time securing the camps. We're already seeing a lot of invades coming in from MOP, contesting the KG as much as possible, and they're relegating Laklak's waves to go to Bang instead, as now MOP start off this Abyssal Dragon.
Yeah, and the first Abyssal Dragon has been taken by MOP, and the early game advantage is not yet substantial, but still, that is already some gold in them with an almost 500. Not substantial, but we've seen MOP steamroll with this kind of lead. Once they get a kill, that is going to be a signal for MOP actually to having the early game lead and dominance. And usually when they get that early game lead, there's no chance that they're going to take, they're just going to give it away. And Wild Person is going to be there, but man, that is going to be Raz going in for the push. Not even using his ultimate.
That's gonna hurt quite a bit. You lose Ka in that scenario, but at the very least you keep Red and Laklak alive. I don't think it's gonna be a good thing though, because if the support's down, that only means that an invade is gonna come in, and Bang is nowhere near ready to go for a fight right now. Yue is gonna try to go for a cut, but look at the dive from the rest of MOP. They will answer big. But they're going to be able to take out Zen in that scenario. Wei Wei may even follow as well. With a flicker away from Ka, they answer with 2 kills of their own. Yes, they lose Yi Wei and Ka, but you take out the mid lane and jungle of MOP. That's going to be a fairly big deal.
Yeah, but it wasn't Bang who was able to secure the kill. And we're going to see Kevin here going for the Nature's From. Red doesn't have his ultimate ready, and that is going to be a secure kill for MOP. A kill traded off as early as that, and it's gonna be a bad thing for SGP. We're gonna see a kind of substantial gold lead, 1K, into the side of MOP.
Yep.
2K
we're seeing it 2K now, and a very nice characteristic we've seen MOP make mistakes in is the fact that they don't usually pick up the disrupt. Right. This time though, it's a completely different story. With them having Disrupt, you can see how much they can defend and be offensive at the same time, going for those dives. And while this is all happening, MOP, they're just going to continue this kind of aggression where they're pressuring Bang as much as possible. It's forcing Bang to farm the side lanes just to keep up.
Yeah, and we're going to see a lot more of MOP winning those flashes because they've been actually baiting out SGP in a lot of areas, and I don't know, they've just been lackluster, and UA is gonna be stuck into the claws of that lane.
Yeah, that's tough. Can you imagine if Alain picks up something like Yoga's Edge? How exactly is UA gonna be running from that?
I mean, basically, he just actually needs to pin him down into place, and that's basically it. And Disrupt again is going to be used. Laklak is going to be in the mix of the female member of MOP. Nothing to do here. Ka is also dangerously low. Zen is going to be the facing the third fire, and we're going to see Kevin actually alone in this area. Dashes in from that wall, but Iwe goes in for the flicker. Not going to work because Yentu is actually going to be able to get out of that dangerous situation.
Yeah, that's not a good thing though. I mean, Yue hasn't exactly been phenomenal as Superman. May get picked off as well. With that, it's an ultimate swing on the Violet. Yue had a hard time top side, goes to the bot side, gets killed again. Yue needs to show up, and this kind of performance, it cost them game 1. And if he's gonna do the exact same thing with this Superman game too, Wei Wei and Getsu are just gonna have a good time farming up, taking Superman out again and again. And it's already clear to see that it hasn't exactly been easy for Yi Wei to get the catch, because the moment he actually tries to push them back in, he gets wiped before he could do it.
Yeah, he is a tanky hero. The problem is that Wei Wei is a mage hero, so he doesn't have any magic resist items yet. So he still has a chance to redeem himself, but that is going to be a question. And there's not much that he can do against Kawaii anyway. Even if he pushes it, as long as he Kawaii times out his first skill, he's going to be immune to all those pushing forward. And he's going to be dead at sunset. It's going to be used. Bang is going to be stuck, and that is going to be a nice attempt to deter SGP from entering. They don't have disrupt on their side, so it's going to be hard for Bang to actually try to tank the tower.
I mean, in later stages, doesn't seem like it's going to be any better here for MOP. It's clear that they've actually learned from their mistakes going from the previous series against DTAC, and we're seeing it in action right now. They're playing a lot more proactive, and there's a stark contrast between Yi Wei and Kawaii. Kawaii's Irie was scary. Now it's going to be Kawaii's Elaine. Irie statistically has not had a good performance in the playoffs. Same goes for the Elaine. But look who's actually dominating the DS lane. It's Kawaii yet again. Coming up clutch most of the time for this for game 1, and now for game 2 as well.
Yeah, Lane has been countering SGP in that regard, and that's going to be the Dragon Sprite committed by Zen, missing out the Wild Person. The Nature's Realm is going to be committed by Kevin to actually disengage from that clash. That was a very risky move, wherein if Zen is going to be shut down, that's going to be a lot of gold.
Yep, didn't happen though, and you know you just gotta be amazed. You miss out on literally a huge Wild Prison there, and I think they were forgetting the fact that Zen is gonna be really quick. You can pop that ultimate and back off. It's gonna be a waste of the Wild Prison, and now it opens up the Slayer for him. This is not looking good for SGP at all. This is so different from how they performed yesterday against Mad.
Yeah, I mean, SGP just needs to actually get a good setup. They have a Superman. They have the Baldoon for the Wild Person to actually deter some of the members who's gonna be in the clash. Maybe if they're gonna be setting up the clash to a 3v5, then SGP can probably win. But in this situation, in the 5v5 scenario, of course MOP is packing a lot of those damage in.
Yep. It's interesting to think, but it's gonna be really tough because Ka hasn't exactly been hitting from all cylinders. Yi Wei's been the exact same case, and if they're the win conditions right now for the setup where Bang, Lack, and Red could actually pop off, well then doesn't seem like Saigon Phantom are in a good spot. Yi Wei and Ka were usually the ones that really did give a lot of space for Bang to just perform, and now they're underperforming really hard. And I don't think it's just that. It's also the fact that MOP are playing a whole lot better.
Yeah, this is different MOP. We're gonna see Kevin actually going in and then going in for a swipe. That's a good bottom lane gonna be taken down. Zen is gonna be in danger. Dragon's Pride is gonna be used to disengage, and that is gonna be another objective taken. And this is kind of reminiscent of what we see from that team, actually. And that's gonna be the Nature's Realm committed onto the middle of the tower, but the Wild Person is gonna be there. Yi Wei might be able to push down, but that's gonna be a cleanse being used, and Yi Wei misses that chance.
This guy's just bad news for SGP right now. You see how scary Elaine is? Not to mention Kevin. They practically used the Baldoon to counter the Nature's Realm. But you see how long the channel was for Nature's Realm anyway. And if, yeah, you actually do get a chance to catch him out with Wild Prison, you see how tanky he is. He's just gonna dash away once he comes back out after the stun and all. he's found ways to do that several times, and it's clearly showing that the Wild Prison isn't working.
Yeah, he actually needs to wait for the Nature's Realm to happen before he releases the Wild Prison, but
Yep.
I don't know. They are actually not hitting the mark for SGP. He's being forced out to use the Wild Prison to disengage, and that's just basically it. It's a wasted ultimate in this kind of situation. We're still seeing a 6k Goldie. Lack might be in danger. He is going to be in a sliver of health, and that is going to be Zen finishing him off, but the Wild Prison is going to be there. He's going to be taken out. Kevin is going to try his best. Nature's Realm is going to be there. Going in, but look at the damage coming in from Red, getting the health of Kevin to a sliver. But we're also seeing Yatsu being chased out by Bang. I think it is going to be an end for him with a triple kill coming in from Red. I think that is going to be too little, too late.
Just doing work. Yep, you can have the triple. I'm taking your towers right now. They lose one, but hey, the ultimate's gonna come in. Kawhi is now gonna be facing off against a 1v3 here. He's gonna use that flicker to get out, and it's run Kirito run. He gets out of that, but I still gotta say that could have been very costly for SGP. Good thing they didn't lose mid, and they're gonna answer with potentially a Dark Slayer. They get this one, maybe they could get some of the momentum back, because we're seeing how much pressure Bang has been doing to Yetsu and Zen. He's starting to come online, and SGP just needs to buy a little bit more time.
Yeah, I mean, Red actually misses a lot of his shots. Even if he comes out clutch in the late game, it doesn't necessarily say a lot to his gameplay. Because if you're gonna play an Elsu, you should be sure in the early game that you should be hitting your mark. Not in this kind of game wherein you're gonna be pressured.
And I don't like the fact they picked up Elsu, to be honest. We know that Elsu is very situational, and with how Red is using it, we're not seeing that much oppression coming from the Elsu. Unlike when you would see the Elsu with a Gilder, which they could have first phased, you would be hitting a whole lot, you know, volume shooting, so to speak, just like what we talked about before. But it's understandable why they couldn't pick up the Gilder. Because it could have been a double-edged sword where MOP would get to ban KG second phase. So they opted to secure the KG first, costing them a ban on the Gilder, meaning they would be relegated to Ka, practically just playing this Baldoom. But now, more or less, it's coming to a head. They're finding a way back. It's too soon to say, but at the very least, it's a start. Triple kill on Red, and now they're slowly marching their way back. And throughout this 14-minute game, they have not been able to kill Bang. So that's something at the very least, right?
Well, I still disagree because we're seeing a lot of statistics in the Red side that they're actually losing out. Yeah, you have items on the LC, you have some items on Bang. But how about the others? Superman is not really gonna be able to last in those clashes. That's for sure. Once the Nature Realm is gonna be there, it's just gonna be hit. And look at the goal lead coming in from the DS laner of MOP. 10.5k, 11.9 on Zen now. You're seeing a 10k gold on the Violet. And also in the situational mid lane, even if you put 7k and 7k on Raz and Crixie, Raz is definitely gonna be the one dealing a lot more damage in that scenario. Look at the Crixie, 8.5k. 6.9k is gonna be in Wei, but do we feel that the Raz is actually underperforming? No.
Nope, it's doing a lot. I mean, Tome of the Reaper, you got Hecate's Diadem, you add in the Boomstick as well. It's just a whole lot of damage coming in from Wei here. And that's considering the poke that they could do. Abyssal Dragon is going to be secured here. Wild Prison was used, but now it's going to be Yi Wei potentially caught out. Ka is going to be dove upon though. Lots of damage dealt there. SGP, they need to run for the high hills because they just suddenly got wrecked in that scenario. 4 members surround Bang. He's out for 40. And now it's just a 4-man from Saigon Phantom left defending. We know that the Violet can push even without a wave. And this could potentially be that tower going down. Yes, it's going to go down anyway. They're going to possibly go for another push here. They're not going for the buffs at all. They want to go for the jugular. They know that Bang is not around. It could be costly for them though.
It's gonna be GG.
If Red can stay alive, he's gonna be able to. Now they're overcommitting. Zen is gonna fall first time. Arctic Orb gonna be committed. Is he gonna be able to get out? Yes, he does. But is there a casualty on the side of MOP? Nope. The invincibility is gonna proc here for Zen, but this core is already in shambles. They couldn't defend it, and that is gonna be game number 2. Yet again, going to MOP.
Yeah, MOP going in strong. This is the type of gameplay what the MOP is good at. Once they get the lead, they're not gonna let go, and that has been the characteristic of Game 1 and Game 2. MOP just play great, and the DS lane difference is actually showing with Kawhi being in out. Yue in terms of skills and strategy. And Bang underperforming right now just because this is a team fight. There's always a repercussion if your mid lane and your top lane and your bot lane is actually not doing their job. And that's just basically it. They keep on losing. Red actually missing a lot of shots in the early game, and that is going to be a disaster for SGP going forward. But let's see the game number 2 highlights and actually see how good MOP is in their rotations at. And that was game number 2's highlights. We saw a lot of good play coming in from MOP, and we're seeing a lot of lane differences, Isaac. And that just gets me to think that SGP is actually not gonna fare well in the series. And if this is this kind of situation, now we're gonna see SGP in most of the series. And game 3 and game 4 might be closed out by MOP as the fastest sweep in the AWC 2021.
Yep. It's a big difference right now. We've seen Kawhi perform for MOP, and it helped a whole lot for Zen to just pop off. But this is Kawhi just getting even better. It's either he got better, or it's just that Yue just really isn't performing, because game 1 and game 2, it's been a non-existent performance for Yue, and it's actually costing a whole lot from Saigon Phantom. That kind of performance practically just meant that it was so hard for the rest of the team to perform, because they would need to compensate for how bad the DS lane was.
And now we saw the Crixie not performing well. He is a supplementary damage dealer, and that is its shortcoming. What if he cannot supplement the damage because there's no one to supplement to? Bang cannot actually go in and fight it out with the MOP members by himself. Yes, you're gonna see some damage coming in from Lak all throughout with the Moonfall and also his pokes and stunts. But does it really matter? It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, they're not gonna be able to close out the damage. Like when you have that Weiwei and Violent connection. Red also is actually not performing well. Why are you gonna pick a Crixie when you have a hero in the marksman lane who actually deals damage in the distance without any free hits? Who are you gonna supplement the damage to? And at most of the time, the Elsa snipes wasn't even actually hitting anyone.
Yeah, it's one thing to consider as well that Red was getting caught out, considering he's an Elsu. You're literally behind enemy lines most of the time. when you should be literally behind your own tower and you're able to survive because it's just hard to dive in. But that's the power of the Ibit. You find a way to dive in, use the disrupt, stay alive under Nature's Realm, and then you're good for the dive. Open it up by tanking the tower hits. And then Yetu, Wei, Zen, they're just gonna pop off. There was a fight at the very least that Red got a triple kill, but what was the resulting outcome of that? You got a triple kill, but you didn't get anything accomplished on the map because you guys were just so busy defending after it that it was just that bad in terms of the laning phase.
Basically, it's Isaac. It's just, I don't know. It's a little too late, Isaac. That's just basically it. Red on that Elsu not hitting. Oh yeah,
Yep.
You did say many shots. One will connect. Out of 3 shots, one is gonna connect. But in this type of situation in professional play, I don't think so.
It's not gonna work against a team like MOP, that's for sure.
Yeah, and this is gonna be something to actually think about for SGP going forward. And we're gonna have the MVP of the game number 2. It's gonna be Yetsu on that Violet, doing a lot more, getting a lot of those hits, getting a lot of those auto attacks, 513 KDA, 72.7% kill participation, and then we're gonna see 7 MVPs already to his name. Damage percentage 32%. And before we go to game number 3, of course, we're gonna go for a very, very short break. So before anything else, my name is Vittorio, and me is Isaac. We'll be right back.
Band together to be strong. Hit the mark. Get out of the way. Hit the mark. Flowing stars. Take this.
Your team has destroyed a tower. You have defeated an enemy.
Get out of the way.
Ultimate.
Hit the mark.
Double ultimate.
Hit the mark.
Legendary. Your team has destroyed a tower.
Hello and what's up? Welcome to the Arena of Valor World Cup 2021, and my name is Vittorio, and joining me in the English commentary broadcast is of course Isaac. We would like to thank the organizers Tencent Games, Garena, and VSPN for making this tournament possible. And we're now into game number 3 of this today's series, MOP versus Saigon Phantom. And most outstanding player actually has 2-score up over SGP. If they're not actually gonna lose game number 3, Saigon Phantom chances to actually come back into the best of 7 series is actually getting slimmer.
It's game day Kawhi, ladies and gentlemen. Literally game day Kawhi showing up in the lower bracket finals. They're up 2-0 right now, and this is against a team who beat BRU 4-3, beat Mad Team 4-1, and you know, those are titans that Saigon Phantom were able to overcome. Is it that much of a disparity in terms of skill level with MOP and DTAC Talon? Going to the very first day of the quarterfinal, we know that DTAC Talon were able to just destroy SGP as well, 3-1. So the top 2 teams right now are looking like DTAC and MOP, unless Saigon Phantom can actually come back from this. They're down 2-0, and that's not something easy for you to come back from, especially since if you want to get a lead at the very least and not get match point as early as game 3 or 4 for MOP, you need to win 3 straight.
Yeah, SGP has a daunting task above them. But, you know, that is going to be the pinnacle of comeback if SGP does actually execute it. But for now, I'm going to be one of the doubters because MOP is showing up strong in most of these engagements. And like I said, they actually won game 1. And that's already a good sign for MOP because usually they flop on game 1 and then they go hard. Going from game 2.
This is a completely different MOP we're seeing. We know for a fact that MOP know how to learn from their mistakes. Throughout the AWC, there have been mistakes made, and they were able to learn from them. After that loss against DTAC Talon, you could tell based on their performance that they learned from whatever mistakes they made against DTAC. And it's just gonna be really scary for Saigon Phantom. you are looking at an underperforming support and top laner. Not to mention the mid and marksman for Saigon Phantom isn't faring too well either, because they're playing the supplementary roles where you're helping out Bang to deal damage. You're not the main damage dealer. And because of that, they're suffering, because they can't do that when there's no one to actually do the main damage where they would add up even more. If Bang is shut down because the lanes were shut down, then it's gonna be hard for the carries to actually do their job as well. And MOP know that. We saw that whenever they would get a lead, it's gonna be a very big deal for them. And based on how they played, the moment they got a lead, we just did not see it go back to the opposing team. Saigon Phantom need to work around that, but their first two is Thorn Lorien. And we know for a fact Lorien hasn't exactly been statistically the best so far in the playoffs.
Especially in Laplap. Missing out. Again, this is... he missed
This
out
goes
a
back
lot of
to
his
the
ultimate.
previous series, Vittorio.
Yeah, going back into the previous series, they
Oh,
used
man.
Lorien and they didn't even hit Star Sky in the opening minutes of the match. 7 minutes in, still no ultimate coming in from Laklak, and they still pick out the Lorien, who's statistically you need a lot of skills and to gauge the time limit of its ultimate and skills. And going forward, we're gonna see MOP actually pick out Amina, a Joker, and a Liliana. And Liliana has been spectacular in going into the playoffs. Always, actually, every time Liliana's getting picked, she's actually winning the 1v1s against the mid laners.
Those are straight up facts, Vittorio. The group stage for Liliana was just an absolute catastrophe. It's a complete 180 in the playoffs, because the playoff teams actually know how to use Liliana.
Yeah, we've seen it in the hands of Nunu, we've seen it in the hands of Viper Pro, and we've seen it with Weiwei as well. So I'm actually looking forward to how they're going to be using Liliana to burst down the Thorn and also the Lorien. And another Scud pick is being chosen up. I mean, this time it's kind of actually makes sense, because Joker is a marksman that can peel tanks, so to speak.
Yep. You want to play Joker if you're gonna be able to just burst someone down as a marksman. Liliana practically gonna be doing the same thing with the combos, but against the Scud, that's not gonna be easy for him. That's a lot of tankiness from the side of Saigon Phantom in just the Scud alone. If they add something in like the Tara that we saw, where they had no marksman in the comp and still won it, maybe, you know, the brilliance of drafting coming in from Saigon Phantom's coach would show up now that they're down 2-0. But the fact that the first two, a Thorn and a Lorien, does not really bode well for him. And even Nunu, you know, arguably one of the best mid laners in AOV right now, he cannot perform well on a Lorien. He's been able to win once on Lorien, but he's the only player who's been able to win with it. Other times, it's just been an absolute wreck.
Yeah, and going forward, we're actually gonna see if the Scud curse is still up in the series, because we've never seen a Scud win since yesterday. All the teams actually picked out the Scud, and they all lost. MOP actually lost with it. SGP lost with it. We saw D-Tac Talon actually losing with the Scud pick. And even Matt's team actually lost with it. And by the way, the Lorien actually has a win on MOP, because, you know, MOP used it in game 1. So we already have 2 Lorien wins in the AWC.
Oh yeah. So that's something there, because if Weiwei can win with the Lorien, then likely chances they would know how to approach a Lorien to begin with. Interesting pick on the Sinistrea though. Are they just gonna hope that Zen drops low enough and then just goes 50-50 in terms of hit points against the Scud, and then maybe they could burst him down from there? Other than that, seems like a pretty substantial pick as well, because if you've got a lot of HP, maybe you could counter it with that.
The only thing you actually need to do against a Scud is not
Run.
to open your back when you are squishy. That's just
Yep.
basically it. And then just target Lorian and also target the Thorn. And MOP is definitely gonna have the upper hand. The Scud cannot chase over a Sinistray at the end of the day. If the Sinistray is actually not going to the perimeter of a Scud. A Scud does have limited capabilities in terms of dash. The Wild Beast Fury doesn't reset his his charge, so that is also something to think about. So Scud isn't really the best mobile hero right now, so yeah, that's one of the reasons why he's actually not faring well in the AWC.
If we see something like, we saw Game Day Kawhi just show up hard for this lower bracket final. What if Game Day Weiwei comes in with the Liliana, pops off, and just destroys everyone? It's a possibility. And Saigon Phantom right now, yes, they're gonna have the tankiness on the Amelie and the Scud, but that's saying a lot because you also have a tanky Roxy. With Burst being the key power pick here for MOP, Joker, Liliana, you have the Sinistrea as well. That's all great, yeah. But how will it fare if it gets to the late game? Will these three tanks be enough to carry the game? Will it come to a point where Red is just going to pop off on the Thorn? There are lots of things to consider, and Saigon Phantom, they're showing that MOP are not out of the woods yet. But the likelihood of MOP succeeding based on their performance so far is much higher than Saigon Phantom.
Yeah, they have the early game potential for themselves. The only crowd control that you're gonna expect from SGP is gonna be the Roxy and also the Lorian, and after that, that's it. The cleanse can also be used in that regard, so that is something to think about for SGP going forward. Because in the late game, yeah, you have a lot of tanks in your side, but as long as the Roxy is not gonna be able to secure those sets, there's nothing much that we can expect from SGP.
They don't have a lot of crowd control, just like what you said, but if you compare it to MOPs, they have Death Embrace. They have the Mina's Hook, the Dark Dominion, you add in a mini stun from the Joker, you add in a stun from the Liliana, you add in the Sinistrea's potential as well, and it's just haywire. If they get caught out, it's gonna be bad for him, and knowing MOP have the Mina, their early game is going to be devastating when someone gets caught out. And if you compare their compositions right now, Saigon Phantom don't exactly have the damage to match up in the early game.
Yeah, we're already seeing something here with MOP and SGP actually phasing off in the middle lane, getting in some damage. And yeah, it's just going to be a normal start. But it's going to be a very, very slow start for Bang, for sure. We actually know that SGP... in the SGP's lineup, that Asuka jungle actually is a double-edged sword because it's gonna be a very, very slow clear in the caps on the jungle side, and Yue is actually facing off from the damage coming in from Kevin, and Yetsu actually negates the damage coming in from the turret by using his second skill, and that's just basically it.
That's another point to consider. The lane swap. They have Thorn against the Omen here, but that practically means they're going to dumpster the Amelie, who's going to be needed in tanking up most of these fights. You can't just solely rely on Bang. You can't rely on Ka as well, because Ka's the support, and as tanky as a Roxy can be, I feel like the tankiest one here is still going to be Yue, but Yue hasn't shown up compared to what we've seen him do on his Amelies, on his Dextras. He's popped off an Omen as well. It's a big difference from what he's shown in AWC to what he's showing right now against MOP. Either MOP did their homework and they improved, learning from their mistakes, or Saigon Phantom are just not showing up in the lower bracket final.
Yeah, it's gonna be a force clear. There's gonna be a team-man member here on the bot lane. The Abyssal Dragon Clear is gonna be started by Bang. There's going to be information to Australia. It's not going to be there. He's still far off, going in from the middle of brush. But is there going to be a steal coming in from MOP? That is going to be interesting. No, the rocket is not going to be enough for the steal. And SGP secures the first Abyssal Dragon of the game.
Good start for him at the very least. We're not seeing that much aggression from MOP. And while they have the Mina here to go for those catches, and well, you know, quite frankly, Mina can survive even more. Look at that, Lack just goes down. Oh man, that's not something you would want to see with a Lorian just immediately going down from Yetsu there. They don't have the damage to take out Mina. And as the game goes on, it's going to be even worse for him. They need to take out Weiwei and Yetsu, but considering long range from MOB, look at that! Kevin's tanking under tower, and she's barely scratched. Majority of the damage is coming from the tower alone.
Yeah, and the harassments coming in from MOP is gonna continue. Wait, is actually there. That's gonna be a hook. That's gonna be a tail missing up, but that's a Dark Dominion
no.
closing up. Lack tries to go for the Sky, not hitting anyone. Yetsu is gonna go for a kill, and that's gonna be a flicker rocket. Bang is actually gonna chase Yetsu. What is gonna be Yetsu doing? He's gonna be going into the front, and Bang does not get any assists on that kill.
Yep. They made sure to deny it from Bang as much as possible. Bang is a triple O right now. And yes, you got a kill on Black, but that's a pity kill right there because Yetsu wanted to deny the kill away from Bang anyway. So you're looking at Scud at 2.2k. That's great and all. Sinistrea hasn't exactly been doing anything just yet, but that's a big problem in itself already. The fact that the Sinistrea hasn't joined majority of these fights and MOP are already winning only spells a whole lot of more doom.
Yep, and going forward, this is actually gonna be very, very hard for SGP. They've been denying a lot of those kills. Bang is a jungler wherein he thrives when he makes plays. But if he doesn't make plays, then that's just basically Bang being useless. I'm sorry to say, I'm a fan of Bang, but that is the state of the game. He is the only one who is actually gonna be, you know, doing good plays for SGP. We were not expecting a lot from Lack and the others, just because of the performance going forward. It's always a Bang show, and with Bang being deprived of this chance to actually shine, means that SGP isn't gonna shine also.
It's a kill that they were able to get there at the very least. It's a kill onto the Mina as well. So it shows that, you know, if there's 4 of you, yeah, you're probably going to be able to kill someone off. But that's a support. It's not going to secure you much. And yeah, you may have killed the Mina, but what did you accomplish after that? You didn't get any towers. You lost the Abyssal Dragon. And now, MOP, they can't continue this kind of pace.
Yeah, and we're gonna see Ka actually in there. Agnes Grip is gonna get a miss. It's not hitting then. There is gonna be Bang going for the commit, trying to go for the steal. That's gonna be the power law being charged, but is it gonna be enough? No, it's not gonna be enough. The damage coming in from Bang is not gonna be there. And it is gonna be a double kill for Zen. I think AWC 2021 is the advent where junglers cannot carry by themselves. And that is going to be a fact with the Dark Dominion being used. Lack very, very low. Is it going to be enough? No, it's not going to be enough. The Needles, though, actually almost killed Lack. He's actually one more hit away from stepping into the grave.
I don't think that's much of a problem, though. You're already seeing Zen steal a camp away yet again. And yeah, they weren't able to secure a kill onto Lack. They got a tower, though, and that's mid-tier 1. That opens up the jungle, and that's going to choke Bang out even more. And Bang is 0-1 right now. The guy who's probably going to be buying Soaring Aura because, well, Bang's the player like that who wants to go for the damage. And it's not going to fare well for him. Here comes a dive here, 3v2. They may be able to take a member out here. Zen is dropping very, very low, but they're surviving. Red goes down. God's going to follow. Bang is just running here. Weiwei could go for a finish, but they're not going to attempt any more than that. Zen is just working and working hard because that tower can potentially go down. Zen's going to get out because the Thorn shows up to defend that second tier. But while that was happening, even the second tier mid was being pressured. That opens up the Omen to just free push the bot side. So 3 towers go down. Your tier 2 top and mid are not in a good spot. And you lose the Slayer at the same time. They cannot fight into MOP.
Yeah, and I think Scud isn't really the best pick for Bang. Bang likes to go for a damage build, and it's gonna be evident in his itemization. He built the Soaring Hour as his third item. Maybe he's actually hoping to get one punch in, but the Scud can't even actually scratch the front of MOP. Maybe if it gets close to Zen and Wei Wei, but Zen is just gonna use Blood Bramble, and then his health is again on the top. That's just how hard it is for Bang. He needs 2 Power Glove punches to actually deal damage. Even with the Wild Beast Fury ultimate, he's just gonna knock people down, and that's just like a crowd control. But at the end of the day, no one's gonna die at that situation. He actually used the Devil's Awakening. But yeah, there's gonna be a charging period for Power Glove. It's not always that the members of MOP is just gonna stand there and then let you punch him. But Wild Beast Fury is gonna be committed. That's gonna be the Joker using the second skill. Negates the damage coming in from Bang, and Bang without Bang. Oh man, SGP is gonna face the onslaught of MOP knocking in the door. And I don't think that they have anyone to actually help them for the defense at this point. No one can tank. Yes, Yue is there, but he is not going to be able to do anything except to actually go for those knockbacks.
Going for the GG.
And they're actually hitting out the Nexus, but with the defense coming in from red, they're going to be forced out to actually go for the middle lane turret, and Zen is actually doing a lot of damage to Lackluster. This guy is going to be there. It doesn't really matter, not hitting anyone. That's going to be Dark Dominion with help, and that's going to be again Kawhi going in for the pull. Passion Blaze is going to miss. Yue is going to be dangerous. He's also going to fall down. Kai is going to be there. Using the Agnes Grip on that Joker, but that's going to be another hook. Kai is going to be alone, and that is going to be MOP GG. As they lock into the Nexus and finishes off SGP in game number 3, getting the lead up to 3-0.
3-0, ladies and gentlemen. MOP are on a warpath right now, and they are not taking any scenic routes, any detours to make it to the grand final. They want to finish this off fast and finish it in style. You saw just how much power MOP did there, and there was just no answer from Saigon Phantom. Bang was non-existent. It would have been probably better if they picked up a different jungler, but you saw how useless the Scud was. You're not going to be able to catch out a Liliana and a Joker. And it just went from bad to worse as the game went on. This is match point MOP. Check out the highlights for game 3.
And that was game number 3's highlights. And we saw, again, MOP going in strong already at match point. At this time, I don't think SGP can hold the tides any longer. Yes, they can win game number 4. But after that, they need to win game number 5. They will need to win game number 6 and game number 7. And we don't see an SGP as consistent even in the last series. Not gonna be easy for any team in the AWC, and that's a fact. That's why people actually commit to win game number 2 or game number 3.
Yeah, that's that was just horrible. I have no words other than horrible, and it speaks for itself. Lorien dying several times. They couldn't deal damage enough to take out Mina. They had to commit fort just to take out the Mina in itself. Zen was not joining the fights, and MOP were already winning. When Zen finally joined in, he just focused on the towers instead of actually helping with the fight, and they still won anyway. And the Scud, you can dash in, try to burst out the Joker and the Liliana, but can you actually reach them is the problem. There's Dark Dominion, there's so much block in your way, and it's such a one-dimensional hero that you could practically see what he intends to do. Avoid what he intends to do and you're already good. Amelie, on the other hand, yeah. But that's the thing right now with Saigon Phantom. They're drafting in a sense that the DS laner needs to perform above and beyond so that Bang can actually do work. But Yue, game 1, 2, and 3 was just invisible. He's literally cosplaying John Cena right now because we just cannot see him throughout this series. And then there's Ka at the very least, there's Red and Lak Lak, they're trying, but it's subpar at best. And this is not a performance you would want to see from a team who made it all the way to the lower bracket final. MOP showed that they learned from their mistakes and they're just destroying right now.
And we're gonna see the damage statistics board. SGP not really dealing a lot of damage spread. Lak Lak Bang at almost 30k below, while MOP did a lot with Zen, Weiwei, Yetsu actually contributing to this 9-minute win. This is a 9-minute match, so this is already substantial numbers. And like I said, the Lorian pick for Lak Lak, it's an understatement that it's a pick that loses a lot whenever Lak Lak uses it. One of the reasons, he doesn't know how to use the mechanics. He's always diving in. He thinks that diving in with the Lorian is always the best idea when there is gonna be a Mina. How are you gonna get out of that situation? You have long cooldowns at the early onset of the game. You need to actually have a lot of those items that has cooldown reduction to actually be able to use your first skill and second skill consecutively. And I think Lak Lak needs to have I don't know, training regimen about Lorians on his next training day, because definitely I think even pub game Lorian one tricks can even outscale him in this hero, and that's not something I would say to a pro player.
That's just horrible in itself, and you know we gotta give props to Zen there. 8-0 and 4 KDA, perfect performance from the guy, and this was considering he was not joining the fights half the game, and that's saying something because half the game was probably around 9 minutes. So he wasn't around for 4 minutes, but he was destroying the other half. It only took half the game for him to land at 8-0 and 4, and while that was happening, he was also able to take several towers out. That's just disaster waiting to happen. And now, you know, to just paint the picture for you guys, to build the hype for this, to give you guys a clear storyline, Saigon Phantom right now are Vietnam's last hope, and surprisingly they would need to channel their inner mad team, pull off a win when they're down 3-0, and then move on to the grand final against another GCS team. This is not the kind of situation you want to be in, and unless MOP blow a 3-0 lead, we do not see Saigon Phantom moving on to the next round, the final round, so to speak. And it's just gonna be really, really tough moving forward. Vittorio, based on the picks alone, do you think they could at the very least force Game 6, considering how much they've drafted so far?
If they do win game number 4, I think they're still gonna be losing out on game 5, and that's already me being generous based on their merits on the other series. But if we're gonna count all the plays that they did in the game 1, game 2, and game 3, I think it's already generous that they win game number 4. And
yep,
I really don't see them actually being on top of MOP at this point. It's just that they're subpar. The era we're in, the jungler can carry, where F1, Neil, and also Bang, and also Flash from Team Flash's ADC. The air that they can carry the game to a high level is already out. sometimes the rotations that we saw in AWC can just shut down a player who is at another level. And that's just basically it. We saw it from DTAC Talent.
Right?
Yeah, we saw it from DTAC Talent, and we're seeing it from MOP.
They don't play focused mainly on just the jungler carrying. Those days are dead and gone, and we're moving to the phase now where, as team-based as AOV, as it is right now, you know, based on how team-based it is, it's even more team-based now that you can't just rely on your jungler. You need to make sure your mid is popping off. You need to see a marksman actually being able to carry the late game. You need to make sure your support is actually supporting. The DS laner does not get stomped in lane alone. Those kinds of factors working together, making sure you're landing all your responsibilities, is what it takes right now to win a game in AOV. And considering what we've seen from Saigon Phantom, unless they make any big changes going into Game 4, they cannot match up against MOP. This is literally outstyled, outclassed, outfarmed, out everything. It's gonna be tough, but at the very least, you know, we can't count Saigon Phantom out. Maybe they still have something left, an ace in their sleeves that they're hiding. Maybe they can pull off a miracle victory where we go all the way to Game 7. If we reach Game 7 and they still lose anyway, I would at the very least be happy, because we saw Saigon Phantom at least put up a fight, force Game 7 even when they were down 3-0 and just come up a tad short compared to them losing 4-0. This is tough, Vittorio.
Yeah, and, you know, I give the benefit of the doubt of the Saigon Phantom, but I'm gonna break down the work of every role. The DS lane actually just needs to clear the wave, make some space, don't die in 1v1 duels. If you can win, then that's a plus. But if you feel like you're gonna die, then just go back off and just clear the wave. Just go defend your tower. In the mid lane, that is where the essence of the game actually flows through, because the mid laner is actually the one popping off in the early with the skill shots. Mostly the damage is gonna go from the magic damage that the mid laners actually are able to utilize. And there's a reason why we're seeing a lot of mages always in the mid lane instead of others who's just gonna be sustainable, like maybe a Wonder Woman or a Varus. It's because those types of mid laners actually put value in clashes. Early game clashes are always going to be centered in the middle lane and the jungle. Bot lane just needs to farm up, go to the late game, contribute in those clashes. But if the dragon lane actually dies, like red, then it makes no sense, because you actually the main damage that you're actually looking for is going to be in the middle lane and in the bottom lane in the late game. The jungle is just there to sustain you if it's going to be a fighter jungle. If it's going to be an assassin jungle, then it's going to actually be in the early parts of the game wherein you need to actually do a lot of damage. And SGP has its priorities wrong. The playstyle that Bang has is actually for assassin types of junglers, not fighters. Because if it's gonna be fighters, it's about sustaining and tanking. Bang isn't the best jungler for that kind of role. If you're gonna put Bang into that situation, he's just gonna convert the fighter to an assassin, and that's hasn't been working for SGP all throughout the series. And that is what SGP needs to know. They actually need to give Bang the hero that he needs, that fits into his playstyle. But MOP is actually very, very strong, balanced, and they have the aggression, they have the defensive mindset of Mad Team, they have the aggression of DTAC in some way and on the other, and we've seen it in the series all throughout. They've been playing it smart, they've been playing it aggressive, there's no hesitation sometimes coming in from MOP. If they have the lead, they're just gonna push it until they get the win.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are watching the birth of potentially a team that gets the fastest best of 7 series in AWC 2021. We're on the cusp of seeing that if MOP win this game number 4. And at the same time, people may probably have forgotten, but MOP have the fastest game in AWEC history, winning at 3 minutes and 51 seconds. I wouldn't be surprised if they won 4-0, but I just thought Saigon Phantom would put up more of a fight against MOP. This is not the Saigon Phantom we saw make their Cinderella story, their run, beating Titans in Mad Team, BRU, and V Gaming, and then come up clutch, going all the way to face off against MOP, only to be down 3-0. We may want to be as unbiased as possible, but this is being unbiased because we cannot say anything good about Saigon Phantom right now. Now they're going to be going with their Malok. They have the Florentino, they have an Assassin in the Kira, but just how much of that is going to be able to work? Is this too little, too late? Is the question, because MOP seem like they did their homework and they're performing even better than their previous games. Wonder Woman, Errol, these are power picks. You add in the Laville, he can melt tanks eventually.
Yeah, and now we're seeing the first 3 picks of SGP. They have a Kira, they have a Florentino, and they have a Mal. While MOP has a Laville, Errol, and Wonder Woman. In terms of dueling potential, of course, we're gonna see SGP pop off in the early. You have a Florentino who can, sustain as long as it's a good Florentino. As long as he lands his combos and is gonna be able to dance well, then Florentino is definitely one of the picks that are, irreplaceable in terms of, skill level and sustaining. And also, it's gonna be interesting to see if Kira is gonna be able to pop off in this game, because they have an inkling already of what kind of playstyle SGP has. They're just gonna give all the resources to Bang and then let Bang carry SGP. That's just basically it.
Oh man, not gonna lie, I am not liking their chances right now. You have a Yena to face off against the Florentino. We know Yi Wei is great on the Florentino, but based on how he's played so far, I wouldn't be surprised if Kawhi was able to outclass him with that Yena. You're using the combo that they had in dismantling Mad Team. Malok Sprint. You have a top laner with a Disrupt, but it may be a completely different story this time. Florentino with a Disrupt probably isn't the way to go, so you're going to be seeing a slower Malok in this case. You have the Alistar, yes, but just how much is that Malok going to be able to do against the composition being brought out by MOP? If we break it down right now, Vittorio, who has the better edge based on composition alone if they lock in this Ignis? There we go.
Okay, if I'm gonna be honest, I don't like the chances of SGP. Yeah, this kind of lineup worked for them in the preceding series, but we all have the potential. We all see the potential of MOP. They have a lot of AoE stunts. They have a lot of 1v1 potentials. Yena can actually burst down that Kafeni in a matter of seconds. Ignis can actually stun that Balok, rendering him useless in 5v5 fights. But if SGP actually scales well, gets the damage in on the Kira, gets the damage in on Kafeni, and if we see actually that Alistar being able to, hold up those key players like maybe the Laville or the Ignis, or maybe the Arrow in some certain situations, then SGP can win this.
But I feel like that's just wishful thinking at this point. Malok isn't gonna fare well against an Ignis. He's gonna try to walk up to an Ignis, and that's not something you want to do. Cafferty can deal damage great, but then you're gonna relegate Lak to just do his thing on that Alistar. They were successful with how they did it against Mad Team, but again, Mad Team is not MOP. MOP, they play a completely different kind of style. And what worked against Mad Team, I highly doubt would work against MOP. So unless they pop off with the Kira, buy enough time for Red to just hurt like hell on this Cafferty, and then have Malok as well as Alistar just control the pace of the game, they should be in a good spot. Given that Yi Wei doesn't just flop his lane again. So this is practically everything on the line right now, ladies and gentlemen. Saigon Phantom in potentially their final game of the AWC. Their backs are literally against the wall. Everything is against the wall. Against all odds right now. Can they secure a win? Move on to the next game. One game at a time. Win the next 4 and then head on to the finals. This is what they need to overcome. And based on the draft alone, MOP have the better comp.
Yeah, they have been countered very, very hard. And so to speak, if we're gonna compare MOP to Mad Team, there's a reason why Mad Team is the 3rd seed of the GCS region. MOP beat them up in the recent Pro League. So MOP is definitely something that is, you know, much harder to face in terms of logic, if we're so gonna speak. And there's gonna be Wei actually spotting out a Sage Golem. He's actually gonna harass Bang at this moment. He's not even afraid that, you know, it could be a detrimental area for him because Ka is just level 1 at that point.
This is just tough, Vittorio. Look at how aggressive they are. Wei is poking down Lak like it's nothing, and it's a Malok that Lak is using. So Ka is the one picking up the Alistar. This is a meta of old, where you have mid Malok. Could potentially work, but not against the Cygnus. You're already hard countered. Bang is having a hard time against Wei alone. And yeah, you can cleave your way around if you're Lak. You can have the sprint to do that, but what else is there? You don't even have Disrupt on your team.
Yeah, and that is something. Let's just see if Bang actually is gonna be able to carry this game, because there's a lot of doubt in my mind that it's gonna work for them as smooth as they actually think. They already gave the assassin pick on to Bang though, so MOP is going to be definitely backing off in most of the situation, and that's going to be a steal on the Sentinel with a Bone Shaver coming in from Zen. That's going to be Ka going in for an engagement, but Wei punishes him with a multiple stun, and that's going to be a Demonic Arm finishing off that Ka.
And this is literally all that Lak can do. Run around, cleave, get a shield going, and you're literally going to be straightforward. You're going to walk up to someone and cleave them. That's not how you're going to be winning against MOP. And right now, MOP are showing it. Their advantage, their strength. They're just diving, invading. Lak may go down. Ka goes down yet again. That is the mid and support down for the count. It's 3-0 right now. Yue is trying to perform his heart out here against 4 members. But we know for a fact he's not going to be able to do it. 2-0 on Kawhi right now. This is game day Kawhi, who has a 500 gold lead against the Florentino. We're already 3 minutes in. And it's just looking even worse for Saigon Phantom.
Yeah, they need to get more kills. Red is gonna do his best, but Kevin just regenerated it with Explosive Shield. And it's gonna be harder. Bang going on for the Umbral Beam, but still gets the small cap. Kawhi misses up that first kill. That's gonna be the full moon combo, and that's gonna be a flaker attack. He's gonna use the backing up. He's gonna back off with the full moon swing. But Wei is going to be left into the midst of Lak, Yue, and Ka. And still no casualty on MOP against a 2v3.
They couldn't even win a 2v3. And now, there's a fight going on in the bot side. Bang is going to dive in on top of this Wonder Woman. And he just gets hooked. Oh man, this is an Arctic Orb. The Disrupt is there. They don't have a Disrupt, and you can see the power of the Disrupt right now. Red goes down as well. You're looking at the last hope of Saigon Phantom right now. They need Bang to carry, but he went down in that 2v2. All on the back of Kevin's Wonder Woman, just hooking him and giving Yetu time to free hit. With Red just being absolutely useless in that fight as well. He goes down, tower nearly falls. Ka and Lak join in there, but they're just too late.
At this point,
oh, man.
We're seeing another MOP steamrolling into the lead. And Yeah, you can actually mitigate the lead coming in from MOP. Is going to be enough, and that's going to be a rope in on Lock, and we're going to see Red go in for a duel with the Laville, and he finishes off Kafani in that situation.
You do not duel with a Laville. Especially if it's Yetu playing that. You already saw what could happen. The constant auto attacks is just an absolute pain to deal with. Not to mention the fact that he already has claims. As early as 5 minutes in, he has the claims, he has the war boots, he's already up and ready to go. Ka is not going to be able to tank that. Bracelet submission going to be committed here. The magic prison is there, but Kevin's just not going down. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin stays alive. It's a 1v2 now. Wonder Woman is being pummeled here by Bang. They're gonna get the consolation prize to taking out the support, but meanwhile topside Yue now is gonna be pressured here. Kawhi, can he stay alive? He's gonna be able to. He outplays, takes down Kawhi. We're seeing signs of life for the side of Saigon Phantom, but is this too little too late? Or we're already 2-8 right now, and the status of their towers are just gonna get from bad to worse if they cannot get this momentum. At the very least, they won some towers of their own. They take out the bot side. It's 1 tower apiece. And we're going to go back to somewhat even here. Though the gold lead is going to be very well into the hands of MOP. Zen goes down to Bang.
And that is actually some bit of life we're seeing Yue actually doing his job. Winning the duels, even winning the 2v1s against an Arrow. And it's not a surprise at all. Arrow was the one targeted by the Gentleman's Duel. So there's still gonna be a lot of things that the Yena cannot actually do at that point.
Yep. And them doing something about this is something we need to see. Right now, we're sitting at 3-8. MOP got practically destroyed at one point, but doesn't seem like they're showing any weaknesses anymore. They're making critical errors right now, though. Now that they're making these errors, maybe Saigon Phantom can turn this game around. In the previous series against DTAC, they were destroyed because of their passiveness. There's no passive performance from MOP this time, and them learning from their mistakes only meant that Saigon Phantom just have it tougher this time around.
Yeah, and we're seeing the Abyssal Dragon credits being taken by SGP. At least this is gonna help them in the global gold setting. But they still need to win the clashes though. Yeah, SGP has the potential to actually hold out some targets, and that's gonna be a commit. Wei actually is gonna be taken out by Bang, and that is already a good thing. That's gonna be the demonic arm being committed here. That's gonna be the rope plus the bracelet submission, but the cleanse is gonna be there. But they still have a chance to actually take the mid lane turret. That's gonna be the disrupt being used. It's gonna be Lak again, going to be pulled into the mids of MOP, and he is gonna be taken out. Plus, the tower is also gonna fall down. MOP takes an objective and a kill as a trade for Wei dying.
This is already a problem, Vittorio, because if you think about it, yeah, they may be getting these kills, but they're not getting anything done on the map. They've already lost 3 towers to MOP. And this is on a Laville that isn't online yet. You really think that Bang could burst down Yetu, who's practically ahead right now in terms of gold? It's not going to be easy. Maybe it's possible, but that's wishful thinking, because right now, it's more or less a 3v5 with MOP. And once the Arrow comes online, once the Laville is even more online than he already is, that's going to be even more problems for Saigon Phantom. And it's going to rely heavily on Yue right now, who's potentially going to be ganked here if he moves even forward.
Yeah, and we're seeing Kai and Yue actually targeting the Yena. And that's going to be a double total getting a hit. That's going to be a Bone Shaver. It is not going to be an empowered Bone Shaver, but still, that's going to deal a lot of damage, forcing out the ultimate on Lak. And now they don't have anything to actually contest the Dark Slayer. And it's going to be, again, MOP taking it for free.
That's another defensive skill used here by Saigon Phantom. While this is happening, they're at the very least trying to push this bot side. It's a 3v1 right now. They're going to outplay. No, they're not. Kawhi is going to go down. They're going to take a tower there. They need to get out. if they are able to get out of this, then it's going to be a good thing for him because there will be no answer. The double trouble, though, is going to be connecting. Kai's going to go down. Yue gets stunned. Bang is going to be able to run out, but Arrow's already diving on top of the Kira, is trying to get out. He does not get out to Zen. Bang dies as well, and Yue's going to follow. While this is all happening, ladies and gentlemen, this is a Dark Slayer empowered MOP. They're gonna get the dragon uncontested because of that. And with 3 members from Saigon Phantom going down in that scenario, this is getting really, really bad.
Yeah, this is definitely very bad. Kawhi is taken out again by SGP, but it doesn't really matter because they have the objective advantage over the side of SGP. Shock is going to be committed, not hitting yet to uses a second skill, but that's going to be the Florentino getting a lot of it. Is it going to be enough? It is going to be enough, maybe, but Yetu is going to be able to safely escape, but they see Bang actually in the backside going to try to kill Yetu at this moment. Uses the second skill. Bone Shaver is not going to get a hit, and Yetu is going to be able to live. No red actually go through the flicker Fusilad, and that is going to be another kill. But at the same time, we're going to see a lot of MOPs, remember, going in for the retaliation. We're going to see the Yena going down. Wei trying his best to actually go in and sustain Niwei at this point. Kawhi is again going in for the full moon combo, and that is going to be Wei outplaying Niwei.
They're broken. They're broken beyond words right now, Vittorio. This is a completely different Saigon Phantom. It's starting to look desperate for them, and they're trying everything they can to just stop the bleeding, but they cannot find a way out. Lak is on his last limbs. He's trying to survive against Wei. Wei is going to be poked down by Bang, but with Bang going down yet again, that's going to be the Kira out for 35. They could not protect that tower there. And as the game goes on, it's only going to be MOP becoming even scarier. They are trying their best right now, Saigon Phantom. They may be able to pull off a miracle win here, but if they cannot take down Wei and Yetu, it is gonna be really, really disastrous. They've already lost a tower in their base. They considerably still have 2 lanes well protected because the tier 2s are still up. But can they go for the defense? Can they survive this? Can Bang dive in and take out the squishies? This is a tall task right now, and we're seeing a 4,000 gold lead that could potentially just get bigger.
Yeah, and now they actually have the advantage again. MOP can actually go in and force out another shot coming in from Black, and that's gonna be it. That's gonna be the double trouble. He's gonna be forced out to use his ultimate, and that's gonna be another uncontested Dark Slayer. It's been the fact of the matter that we're not gonna see a lot of plays coming in from SGP, and that is gonna be a fact. We're gonna see here Zen taking in the Dark Slayer, and nothing much is gonna happen with Bang in the bottom lane, trying to go for a split push. But with that regard, the Drake has been summoned in the top lane, so this is an opportunity to actually take the middle lane and top lane turrets. They still have tier 2 turrets in the middle. They still have tier 2 turrets in the top lane, but it's not going to be sustainable. Kawhi is again going to be back. This is a 4-man team with the Ignis, with LaVille, and with the Wonder Woman. I don't think that SGP has anything else. There's going to be the commander, there's going to be the magic person actually going to be used onto Kevin. What a bad targeting. That is no stunts for that hero yet to get a double kill, and Florentino is going to go down. Demonic Arm is going to use to disengage the members of SGP. That's going to be a 3 versus 5 defense. Is it going to be enough? Even with the making support and the magic barrier, it doesn't really matter much because the damage coming in from Kawhi is just a substantial bursting down at the penny. And now it's going to be a 1v1 between Alistair and Ignis. Well, we see Mal on a 4v1. And that is going to be, ladies and gentlemen, a game, set, and match. I don't think that SGP has the death timers ready to actually fight it out with MOP going in for the backdoor. And this is the first ever sweep in the AWC 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, MOP is going to enter the finals facing out P-Tac Talon.
Ladies and gentlemen, fastest series in a best of 7 AWC 2021. We have our top 2. It is gonna be the rematch. D-Tac Talon and most outstanding player. We have ourselves a quick evening, boys and girls, and we have just witnessed MOP come online, and they are ready to go to the finals. That was completely surgical. It was utter domination. 4-0. Fastest game in AWC 2021 at 3 minutes 51. They added another one here. Fastest best of 7 series. Check out game 4. This is the final game of Saigon Phantom.
And that was game number 4's highlights, where we saw history in AWC 2021, the most fastest lower bracket finals ever. It was a 4-0. We had a 4-1 yesterday, and now MOP actually topped it off with a 4-0. And this is already the hopes and dreams of the Vietnamese region being crushed to a pulp. This is the first time we're not going to see an AOG team actually competing in the finals against a GCS region. And that's not an understatement. They are now in the advent of the RPL League's team, D-Tac Talon, who was waiting in the finals, and now the GCS still redeems themselves as one of the best regions in the Arena of Valor world. Most outstanding player, it's going to be pretty interesting to see what's going to happen in July 18th, the grand finals. And if this is the MOP we're going to see, it's a very, very different MOP from the upper bracket match that they face off with D-Tac Talon.
It's a big difference. We saw a rocky MOP against D-Tac. What happened this time? My god, they came online and they are peaking at the best possible time. Before the series, oh man.
Yeah, in that series it was a very, very good.
Oh my god.
Yeah, bless you. But anyway, going forward, there's not much to actually say about the series. It was just basically Bang being shut down the whole. I mean, this is the problem if you only have one superstar. Not like when they were facing off D-Tac Talon, they actually had a fight of their life. Because we have a lot of star power potential on D-Tac Talon. They have the middle laner, they have the jungle, and then they have the ADC that they need to shut down. And that's just basically it. MOP though, with their balanced gameplay, actually was very, very aggressive. They showed some stuff where we saw plays coming in from Mad Team, but they did it better. MOP is the pinnacle of the GCS region. They have the aggression of One Team Esports. They have the defensive capabilities of Mad Team. And that says a lot about MOP.
Not to mention, this is only their first showing on the international stage. Can you imagine what they could accomplish with even more experience? First time, and they're already in the grand final, going up against D-Tac Talon. They are in contention for the Thai region's first ever title on the international scene.
Yeah.
If D-Tac can't win it, then that's GCS denying another one.
Yeah, if MOP is actually the ones that come out on top on July 18th, then we're gonna see the GCS region still in the throne. They're the actual region that actually, that the metas come from. So it's understandable that the GCS region actually has an understanding why Scud is not actually good in terms of composition. The drafting is way better than than Saigon Phantom. Saigon Phantom always had a the Vietnamese region always had a flair on going in for assassin comps, high damage comps, and we now know that the true shield of AWC is going to be MOP. They denied the sword actually getting the edge in this series, and looking forward, if they actually best out, be better than D-Tac Talon than the series that they played yesterday, then it could be RPL again failing in their dreams to actually have an international title. But if D-Tac Talon overcomes the odds and becomes the first Thailand team to actually win the international competition like an AWC or AIC, then they're gonna be the hope and dreams of the Thai region as well.
For sure. And right now, MOP, as phenomenal as they look, we have to very least need to, give respect to Saigon Phantom for making it this far. They tried their best, but the Cinderella story ends here. The last hope of Vietnam falls, and now we're witnessing the Chinese Taipei squad of most outstanding player go up against Thailand's only hope, D-Tac Talon. Is this the first title ever for Thailand? Or is this gonna be a practical defense of the throne for the GCS region? D-Tac versus MOP. We started with them in the group stage. We're finishing with them facing off against each other yet again for the AWC finale, ladies and gentlemen. And it cannot get any better than this. The two most dominant teams throughout the playoffs are going to be facing off against each other. These are the only two teams that did not seem to come up short, or at least looked like they were rocky in any way, shape, or form, unless it was against each other.
Yeah, and going forward, we're actually perplexed. I myself am perplexed that the Giants that we usually see, Team Flash, Matt Team, Buriram United, getting knocked out of the AWC as early as the match. Only Matt Team actually was able to last to the semifinals, and so to speak, it wasn't even a strong Matt Team anymore. And that's just basically it. The new generation of teams actually filling up the slots for AWC, getting in new talents. 2021 has been a rocky start for these teams that didn't have any international competitions from last year's, since AWC was cancelled. But now we're actually seeing new faces, new strengths, new representatives, and that is basically AWC 2021. And in behalf of all of the production staff, the casters, Vittorio, myself, and Isaac, we would like to thank everyone for staying in this English commentary broadcast. And I would like to say thank you very much and see you on July 18th. So good morning, good afternoon, and good night. See you guys again.
Peace!